is working here, he will now cut off and mulch with this machine all what is left here, because they want to start to prepare the soil for the next year.
Yes.
And now we have a look at this machine. Please go not too narrow, because there may be some stones.
Really.
So we see the result now. It's cutting
Let me ask you, why are you using it?
Why do you use such a big machine motor?
Because it's a big area. I don't know. It's maybe 2 hectares. 1 hectare. And we have not so much people to do the work with the hand.
It's not just cutting. The point is to make it so small that when we will start again plowing, that this organic structure in the soil. So you would just cut it, you will have the long pieces and they will stay for a long time in the soil. And then it's for working in the soil, it's much more difficult. That's why we do it with a machine of that.
That's why we use a big machine.
No. It's an organic farm. It's all organic. Organic feeding, no pesticides, nothing.
So what is what would be in Africa as organic farming? What would be in Africa as organic farming?
No fertilizer, it's all manure from the cows. We will see it when we move no chemical. Yes, no, it's not compost. It's raw with cow manure mixed, and it stays for half a year. And it's close to compost, but it's not what you call compost, but without any big structure. You still can see the straw, but you will see it when we move over to the stabulation. That's not a problem.
Is the material rest here?
This material stays here, and then we come with the plow and we turn it around. This material will go like 20 centimeters in the ground, and that's the base for the new stuff. It's all mechanical. We have machines on the tractor that goes between the rows, and we cut off mechanically the bed curve. Yeah, but that's very easy. It's crop rotation. This year is here, next year it will be there. The year after it will be there. So you try to. It's all through crop rotation. It's not otherwise it would not work. Because you have the cabbages, for example, it needs 6 to 7 years between the next time the cabbage will come. You need to rest from the plant. So it's very important. If you will go on with the cabbage within those 6 years, then you get a lot of Kohlhernie, we call it in German. It's very bad for cabbages. So the point is of really having a plan where the cabbage is this year, and next year it has to be somewhere else.
I have another question.
Yes.
I think in Germany here the weather or the condition is not suitable for the material. It needs several
years. This, when now in the winter time when it's a little crop, we will plow it. And then in the spring, when we start putting grass or whatever, here will be grass, clover will be here afterwards. When then you go through the soil, you wouldn't see anything of this. Maybe of the corn. Corn is a bad stuff. But maybe the sunflowers, because there's a lot of organic material. But all the rest you see here, you won't see anything there. It will be all, there are the worms, there are mouses, and they will use it to reduce
soil compaction.
Und bei feuchteren Bodenbedingungen, ich kann bei dem Schlepper die Vorderachse und die Hinterachse unabhängig voneinander lenken. Das heißt, ich kann spurversetzt auf der Fläche fahren.
So when there are humid conditions, not as now, when it's more wet than now, he can separately the front axe and the back axe.
1 cone or 2 cone.
Yeah, and he can put tires, all the four, not in the same row. Yeah. You see? You know this technique?
I know this.
You know this.
Because we have only one.
You know this company also?
Video. I'm saying the camera is how many pixels?
8.2.
8.2. Strong.
8.2 HD. High definition video.
Because mine is 5.3. These are Sony.
For you. Okay. You see it now in action. And next week in Agritechnica you will see it clean and yes, this company is represented there also.
And actually this is the first time I've seen a tractor with 2 picking shafts.
Yeah.
The front and the back.
Yes?
I always know.
Not common, no.
I know we can use in society or in farm.
This is also for reducing soil compaction.
Fingers are soon stopping, right?
Your fingers are getting.
They are for the United States we need for the cultures who are coming after.
Planning.
Oh yes, it's a
Planning, and you need to take into
I
consideration.
will, when we move on to the stabilization, I will show you a map. We produce this every year for our cultures, and we have it from the last 10 years. And then you will see there is a very high rotation. There is never 2 times in a row of carrots on the same place. There's the only thing that stays 2 years is the clover and the alfalfa, and they are like 1/3 of our whole production is in that way.
So in essence, you're saying this. You're saying that this organic farming concept is based on crop rotation.
Oh yes, of course.
Yes, based on crop rotation.
The key to the success of the planting production is, for one thing, having animals for the organic production of manure, for fertilization of the soil, and the other thing is crop rotation. Because if you go 3-4 times in a row with potatoes, then you get nematodes, you get all kind of problems. And with the rotation we have here, we don't have that problem. So we are just limited to a mechanical control of bad weeds, of plants we don't want to have. And on the chemicals, we have there's no way, we don't have the products, we can't use them. So, I mean,
There comes a problem. We're using heavy machinery.
Not the right
Compaction.
No, that's what
No?
I explained.
Yeah. We have a very big tires. We try to have the machinery as less weight possible, and we have the air pressure in the tires. It's very low. So this means Landtechnik did a lot of research on this, actually, on this farm. And the soil compaction goes, I mean, there is a few soil compaction, but we can battle against it with our plow and with...
You vary depending
We are varying. One year we only go 10 centimeters in the ground, the other than 25. So there's always a change between those different things, and I don't think it's a big problem. The other very important thing is not working the soil in any condition. So this means when it's too wet, we won't go on the soil, even if we know corn has to be put in the ground by half of April. There's no compromise. Then we prefer only putting the corn in the ground 3 weeks later. So when it's not the theoretical condition what the seed needs, but it's the
practical condition.
It's the practical condition of the soil who gives us things. So this means that this year with the carrots we are late in harvesting, but it was a very wet in the spring, and we were not able to put the carrots in the ground, and so that's why we said, okay, no way of putting the carrots in wet conditions in the ground. So this means normally we are done already for 2 or 3 weeks with the carrots, and this year today is the last day, so it will be over. But we are very lucky with the climate, for example, because it's dry and it's not too cold. And you can see it. You can see it by the soil. The machinery passed here. You can see where it passed, but there is no compaction. My dog does the same. So you can see by those things it's always possible to avoid too much soil.
Which one are we?
Sorry? No, it doesn't. One thing is that our soil, it's not a very, how you call it? It's not clay, it's not sand as well, I mean, it's sand as well, but it's something between.
Loamy soil.
Even when it's getting wet, it's still very good in, how you call it, in
Loamy soil.
What's that?
This is the soil trial.
Yeah? No, it's getting too difficult for me. No, but I mean, you can see it by now. Our conditions the last 3 weeks were nearly not rain at all. And you can see it now. He went through with the machinery. You look at the tires, there's nearly no soil on the tires. This means the conditions are pretty good for working outside. Afterwards, when you will move over to the carrots, you will see the same. The soil permits, for instance, a good working. When it's getting too wet, we won't touch it. We won't go on the soil. We will wait till conditions are getting better. And this is, in organic farming, is a very important point. Otherwise, once you compact the soil too much, you damage water capillary system. Is not working anymore. And you are harvesting, that will still work, but for the next the next crop who's coming, you will not harvest anymore because the soil is not working as its best. And one thing is, of course, we have a very good soil here. It's the profile, the A profile from the soil. It's like this. This means we are working in a very good soil of this. Deep. So this means it's very difficult to work bad on this soil. There is places where soils are much more sensitive on bad working. But one thing is, when it's raining, no way of touching it. Okay. Staying off. And of course, it's a big farm, it's big machinery. So when you are here and it's raining and we say, okay, you all get one of those, and then we do it by hand. That works as well. That's good for soil.
What will you do if the soil is being compacted?
Then you have to scrub it open again. You take a grubber. There's different systems of grubber. Then there's Tiefengrubber. You can go 1 meter in the soil, and then you put it open again. But this is only a way of working when you did a lot of mistakes. So on this farm right here, we don't have a machine like this, because our way of thinking is not to avoid this mistake. So there's a lot of I know some regions where every 2 to 3 years they have to do this because the soil gets compacted too much. But this means they are not working the right way on their soil. That's I mean, you can always, there's always a way of finding a solution to a problem. But the big thing is to avoid the problem. That's all. I mean, we do it. There's so much medicaments for cows I can use. So there's any illness that's coming, there's a good medicament. You give money to a big concern, that always works. But the big thing is to avoid the problem. Staying the cow being healthy, it's easier than the cow being sick and using medicaments. Yeah. So, I mean, that's very normal. So that you have to be in a certain kind of respect to the soil, to the animals, to nature. And if this, even between human beings, and then it works. And if you are not, if it's too much on one way, on one side, then it will always be bad. That's how it works. And that's I guess that's one of the things that makes organic farming very interesting, because we look at the climate, we look at the rain, and we don't say, oh, it's 15th of April, today we are going to put our seed in the ground. It doesn't matter what happens, today machine is coming. That's not how it works. Some days we will start already 2 weeks earlier because temperature is good, and there's years we start 5 weeks later, and it still would work. Maybe the harvest is less, that's possible, I mean, but that's not the way. Then we have a bad year, and maybe the carrots are only 70% of the normal crop we can have, but it's okay then. We are not happy, of course. We would prefer 100 or 110%, that's normal. But we will never try to put it in the bad way. It's not the priority of the job. The job is to keeping all this in a good balance, and that's the point. And some years by doing it like that you have a very good harvest, and some years you have not so good. But I would prefer going to the cows, because my mainly job here on the farm is animal. I'm responsible for the animals, and I like very much my colleagues who are working on the soil, but
do you use also biopesticide?
No. We could in a certain way, but we don't need it. It's soil rich. What we are trying to do is, for example, having a lot of hay and trees around. You have a lot of birds, and they do a pretty good control of a lot of insects, for example. These are ways we are going to.
Okay. But maybe you need to put some bacteria to destroy this material.
Till now,
it's biofertilizer.
That could be, but for instance, like this.
It takes long time.
In 4 years or 5 years, when this project is coming back on this place, all this is gone. So it doesn't matter. There's no need for it. I mean, of course you can put in, you can do a lot of input. It's always possible to do input, but if it's not worth doing it, because you know in 5 or 6 years it will be good anyway. There's no way of doing it, and we prefer doing it by crop rotation on this place. Then the one thing is that the stuff stays for 2 or 3 years in the soil. That's one thing. The other thing is all the illness I have on cabbage, on all kind of legumes, because they are coming back too early. And what I told you just a moment ago, the cabbages need between 6 to 7 years between planting again cabbages on the same place. So even by destroying all the organic stuff, it wouldn't help you.
How many units of plant?
For rotation?
We have a 6 years rotation.
6 years.
And there's 2 years of those. It's 2 years in a row, alfalfa or clover. So this means 4 years, it's always a different culture, and then 2 years clover or alfalfa, and then it starts again. So then we have the whole farm of 320 hectares, and between those we always switching around. And those means as well that some years maybe we would think, oh, the price for potatoes will be very good, but we can't put any more potatoes because our rotation doesn't permit it. So I mean, these are when there's bad harvesting periods, and you read the newspapers and they, oh, there's not much potatoes, whatever. we cannot optimize in that way. We have only a certain amount of hectares for potatoes, and when they are done, they are done. So that's.
What's the power energy using tractor?
Yeah?
The energy power using for the tractor?
No, it's diesel.
Diesel.
Diesel, yeah.
Not